ungodly amounts of HP.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the problem is that everything that I'm hearing from you guys that is fun about Palace of the Dead is exclusive only to Palace of the Dead.
It is.
It's not something that affects the overworld, or like that even in concept you could really even bring to the overworld. And I don't know. I think that that's a little bit concerning. Like, yeah, it's cool that there's a mode of play that appeals to you and that you like, and that there are some rewards that you can take out of it. But it feels, like to me, it feels like there should be more people doing it right now, and that's inherently a limitation of the rewards that they've put in there.
Do you think, that not enough people are doing Palace of the Dead right now?
And
have you seen Quarry Mill?
Yeah.
And but it's only like that because we're like 4 or 5 days into patch 3.45.
And what else is there to do?
Yeah, in 6 fucking weeks, it's not going to be like that.
Probably not.
In 7 weeks, it's not going to be like that. And so when you think about long-term viability, it's like Diadem. Nobody thought about the long-term viability. There were people in it for that patch, and when that patch passed, everyone went on to go and to do something else, and it was just the gatherers who stayed in Diadem.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I what I would want to see from Square Enix and the development team is just a little bit more forethought. Like, okay, once this is no longer the thing to do, the current thing to do, like how does it still stay viable long term? And I don't see any of those answers here.
But no event can do that right now.
I would like to see traps put into other things. Why can't we have, random ads spawning in dungeons, right?
Okay.
I mean, there's no downside to that. You're trying to pull that whole first quarter of Zelphatal because that's just what you do now.
Right.
And once you get near the door, boom, another 3 mobs pop on top of you. You could probably take them, especially the better players, but in some instances, that's going to add that little bit of, or a toting trap. Like, why wouldn't Beastmen or some of these old places like the Great Google Library, which is, has been chained off, and there's all these things in Magic. Why wouldn't they be putting down warding spells or traps for you?
Sure.
It makes a lot of sense that stuff like that could also be put into dungeons to add a little bit of spice to them.
They did this at a little bit in Hullbreaker Isle normal mode. They had the random bear traps on the ground leading up to there. And then
those were a nuisance.
No, but he's right though.
Yeah.
He is right.
They experimented with it, and people probably complained.
The placement of them was totally random too. No, that was actually, when I think about that, it is something that they had not repeated anywhere else, and that's a very interesting point. But again, like the styles of play, the things that you guys are complimenting about the system are exclusive only to the system, and they don't really come out of there. You know what I mean?
But it's something they could put elsewhere, because you're doing the exact same thing in Palace of the Dead every single time, okay? And really, it's just the way that they've arranged them. The only difference is going into it, it's not going to be exactly the same layout as it was last time.
Sure.
And that's the problem that people have with raiding or with dungeons, is that mobs are always in the same place. Mobs always use moves in the same exact order. All they have to do is provide a little bit more randomization to it so that you are reacting instead of memorizing.
Here's all of those things were static. They never changed. The placement of the dropping balls in Holly Tolly never changed. And I think that's something that you're talking about, is the dynamics of that.
And we knew SC when they made Palace of the Dead, they said they wanted it to be something very different. So my hope would be that if they get positive feedback on Palace of the Dead, they say, oh, maybe we have something here.
Yes, you do.
Maybe this is what players are into. That's where I would hope we would see this kind of stuff expand eventually out of Palace of the Dead.
The way that you should be working our brains is we should be problem solving in the moment.
Right.
We shouldn't be going and watching videos and memorizing before we go in.
That's fair.
And I think there is something to be said for the way Savage rating works, where there is an element of, all right, let's have the chalkboard session beforehand, make our plans, how are we going to handle this when it happens. But there's also something to be said for the randomly generated problems that you come across in Palace of the Dead.
Yeah. No, that's you guys got